Like you said to me once when you called me Sybil.
Show all of our different personalities.
Yes, I'll let you know which ones I'm bringing to the table today. That was so funny when you said that to me. I love that. That was one of the best comments in the show. I like when you can just be you, Dr. Energy, and
yes, whoever that is in the moment.
Yes, that's good. That really teaches us that we should be on our toes with each other because we are.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Joe, Dr. Energy Piazza.
RaRa is in the house. Kathryn, Asaro Myers.
Welcome back to BU Network Podcast, Conversations Worth Having. On our podcast, you can expect 3 things. 1, the BU guest moment. 2, the BU moment. And 3, the BU final moment.
As promised, we are giving you a very special audible on each show. Your job, well, not your job, it's to find it. You know the game Where's Waldo? Well, here we will ask you to listen for that audible.
Welcome to another BU moment. Another great episode tonight. Really excited about Mia, speaking with Mia Torr and Joy. And Kathryn, tell me a little bit about where you're at with Joy this evening.
Oh, well, thank you for asking, Dr. Energy.
You're welcome.
I would like Joy to be part of my day every day. And I would believe, and I'd like to tell you that it is, but there are certain days that it jumps up at me, and there are certain days that I go and jump up for joy. Right. And I don't mean jump up for joy because I have it. I mean, I'm going to reach for it because I really need a little bit more of it. And there are days that I jump up and down and I'm excited. Today, I am certainly excited about the conversation. I really like to hear what other people do in their life and how they bring these emotions. These emotions that we've chosen, they're amazing. First of all, the research that we did and really dive into it, we understand how they work and how it works in our brain and how our subconscious works. So I'm excited because this is one emotion that I would like to serve at every breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And when I wake up, right along with gratitude, joy would be right up there. We spend so much of our day looking and thinking about what else has to be done and what's next. Where is the joy? Where is that in our life? People skip food, they skip breakfast, they skip lunch, they skip dinner, and we need that to live. So imagine how many people skip joy.
For sure.
Right? So I'm right up here waiting for Mia to tell us some of her strategies and share with us what she does to be joyful. She's such a great example of that. Right. I know that we're all going to learn something from her, so I'm happy. I'm excited. And let's talk about the moment, this moment. This is our BU moment, and I really look forward to it because I know I get to, if I say expose myself, what I mean is be transparent. I know.
Cameras are off.
Cameras are off. We're not looking. But we want to make sure that we are who we really are. And our BU moment gives us a chance to say exactly that, where we are and what we're doing.
Kind of let our hair down a little bit for those of us who have hair.
Which my hair is way down there. So I'm happy for that. I would love us to be on the beach and do our BU moment and know that we always organize it and record when we're able and when we're, thinking, we can do that, but we should just record whenever we're out and about. Doesn't matter, right?
That would be, I think that's something to plan for, a beach BU moment.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So it'd be a beach you moment.
Okay. I'm signing up for that. Let's do it. Let's do it. And right this moment, so I'm in my bridge room. So that's my beach. This is my bridge room. It gives me a chance to be wherever I need to be. There's a lot of great energy in this room always. And right now,
I've been there. Yes.
Yes, I love it. I really do. I feel that I'm surrounded by all the gifts and the things that people, they give me, my clients, my friends, my family. And I have the other day this happened. I'll have to tell you about my BU moment. So right now I'm in front of my dresser, which is in my bridge room. And I was on a call and I opened up this drawer and I'm like, wow, what's in there? Now I wish you could see this. So as I was talking, and my client had to go somewhere and come back,
Right.
and they said, I'll be back. So I said, okay. I opened up the drawer and I found something. Now, I know we said no cameras, but let me just tell you something.
You could take a picture of it and we could post it.
Oh, well, that would be interesting. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you. You don't have to turn your camera on. But I found these.
Oh, red Michael Jackson gloves.
And I thought they were amazing. So when we all got back on, I made sure I had these amazing red gloves. But it got better than that. This is such an amazing drawer that I have in my bridge room. And I didn't even realize that it goes from that to Paloma Picasso.
Oh, very nice.
So I was doing a little glove show for everyone.
Little glove love.
Exactly. And I realized that this was, cameras off, and I realized that this was a really great place to be. I stand. So when we're doing our shows, I'm standing in my bridge room and I'm standing at this really great piece of furniture. I love it. It's all hand done, clay powder. And I didn't realize what I put in this drawer. And it's amazing because I get to really play. So I'm in my bridge room with the ability to play, to be able to see these fun things that I forgot I even put in there. And I'm in a very joyful mood because I have red sequin gloves and red Picasso leather gloves. And of course, I have my 7.5 pound trusty best friend Bowflex dumbbell.
Nice.
And I'm in my exercise clothes because that's how I roll.
Nice.
My yoga clothes.
Very nice.
Now, tell me about you. Tell us about you.
So I liked what you said earlier about joy and how people tend to skip meals. And it's so true that people tend to skip certain emotions in their life. And they just think, oh, I don't have time for that, or I'll get to it later. And, so this last few days for me has been really important to reconnect for myself, because I had a stretch where I did several presentations, like 3 presentations in 5 days. And so I was getting a little run down, and I took some time for myself, about 5 hours, in fact, at the local spa, and hanging out in the sauna and all that kind of thing, in and out of the sauna into the snow and the cold water, because it was actually snowing the day I was at the spa. So it was just absolutely magical. And then today I've just spent the time really sitting quietly mostly. I did some meditation, I did a workout, I did some yoga, read a book, and just to get myself in that state of enjoying the moment, right? Enjoy, being in joy, and just preparing for this podcast. So again, as usual, I'm in my office / recording studio here at my place, and just really enjoying the moment, being here with you, being here with Mia, and discussing joy and sharing that with our listening audience.
That's great. That's lovely. That's very sweet. So thank you. Thank you for being like that with us today. And we're going to talk about joy every day, so that way we can have, not that you're not sweet to do all the other podcasts and shows that we do, but this is particularly sweet. So I like this subject. This is great. Thank you for that.
I have my moments.
You have lots of them, and we're going to show all of them, like you said to me once when you called me Sybil.
Show all of our different personalities.
Yes, I'll let you know which ones I'm bringing to the table today. That was so funny when you said that to me. I love that. That was one of the best comments in the show. I like when you can just be you, Dr. Energy, and
whoever that is in the moment.
Yes, that's good. That really teaches us that we should be on our toes with each other, because we are listening to one another.
Excellent. So I think that's a great place for us to join Mia on the call and see what she has to say and share about strategies for bringing more joy into our life.
Yes. Okay. Let's listen to what Mia has to say. Let's segue right into Mia Torr.
Joy on the other side.
Dr. Energy, this is a fantastic subject tonight. These 3 letters are extremely powerful. maybe we can even use these letters forwards and backwards, but in the English language, tonight's show, I don't know, you do the backwards part.
Yodge.
Yeah, exactly. I think that everybody will get a smile to their face when they hear especially our guests, and they hear our topic of joy. This is a great time of year as well for this topic.
Mm-hmm.
No matter when you listen to it, it's good. But we happen to be in the beginning parts of winter, I guess I should say.
End of fall, towards the middle end of fall, yeah.
And knowing that we have such a lovely pairing, sounds like a dinner with wine, fine dining. We have such a wonderful pairing for our guest tonight to come and discuss this subject. I would like to take a minute or two to actually introduce.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. So to our audience listening live and to the replay, we're really honored and thrilled to be interviewing and speaking and hanging out with Mia Torr. Mia Torr is a co-founder of Authentic Networker, an international community of business networking groups based on the foundation of genuine, curious human conversations. Authentic Networker connects tens of thousands of business owners in 61 cities across 5 countries and leads network training and coaching on networking skills for the relationship economy. Now, Dr. Energy and Mia, I just added a little something into your bio. I hope you're okay with that, Mia. Welcome to BU Podcast. How are you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. I'm feeling very joyful tonight.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, first of all, being with you both here on the podcast means that my husband is having daddy time with the kids, and I'm hearing giggles coming from the bathtub a couple of doors over. So it's lovely for me to step away from that a little bit and have an adult conversation, and lovely to know that they're having a great time there. So
a little splish splash having a bath.
Yeah, there's that domestic joy, and it's just wonderful to be here and be invited to share with you and discuss with you and to be connected to your audience. So I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much, Mia. Joy is something that I know it comes and it goes in people's lives, but some people have more of it than others. And you speak with people all the time. You're in the people business. Can you share a little bit about what do you do to keep joy or to attract joy into your day-to-day life?
Create it even, yeah.
Exactly. Into your day-to-day life and your business.
Boy, I think that I think the place where I began attracting joy in my business was right when we first began the architecture of our business. I started off Authentic Networker as a blog maybe 8 years ago. And I had a background of corporate storytelling. I'd worked as a curriculum designer in museums and parks. And so, when you go to a museum and you see these really engaging exhibits, or you go through an education program, and maybe it's a boring topic, but you're really engaged and you're left wanting more, you're left wanting to take action. And that's something that I did for many years.
Cool.
So when it came time to step into the world of business, I thought, what is it that I've learned about how people connect with ideas, how people connect with concepts, how people connect with other people in order to take action and move things forward?
Right.
And so when I took Authentic Networker, the blog, which was really about how do we engage people as real human beings and not as slimy salespeople? That was really the premise of the blog. But when I took that to turn it into a business, I sat down with my husband, Andy, and I have to tell you, that time was not a joyful time. My husband had just been packaged out of a job that had been supporting our family for years. It was about this time of year, it was right before Christmas, and we have 3 little kids, and that thing happens in corporate where they say, you're doing wonderful work, but we've restructured. And they walk you out like a criminal. You're carrying your plant, and Andy didn't know what to tell me. And he came home, and we had about 2 days to grieve. We went through all of those, those 5 stages of grief. I don't know if they apply to job loss, but there was
for sure
some anger and some bargaining and some denial. And then we met with our therapist twice in 24 hours. And she said, take the time you need to grieve and then pick up and decide what to do next. And that's when Andy looked at me and he said, we have a business plan sitting in a drawer, waiting for us to have time, waiting for us to have a financial cushion. And suddenly we had time and we had a package that came from corporate. So we sat down with a giant piece of chart paper and we mapped out, what do we love? What are the things that I would wake up and do every day for free if I could? Right. And I thought, what are the skills that we get to exercise in our corporate lives that we've always enjoyed? And for us, it might be different for you listening, but think of what those things are that really light you up when you're at the top of your game and you show up and you've got energy coming internally, right? You don't have to be pouring coffee down your throat because there's something that you're generating inside of you. And for me, that was always when I was in allowed creative autonomy, when I was able to create things, when I was able to speak, to connect with people, and to facilitate conversations with each other. And Andy had his list as well, but we built our business based on who we are when we're happiest. Right. And because that was the foundation of our business, that's everything is scaffolded on what do we love to do. That 3 years later, we've managed to grow internationally because we're in our joy. I'm not in my joy 24/7.
Of course.
But if I've got to show up and start working, there's so much that's actually built into the foundation of our business that makes me happy. And I think that makes it so much easier to just show up and be my fullest self and give more to the people we serve.
Well, Mia, that's a lot of great advice that you just gave us there. I'm processing that. And it makes me want to know a little bit more. So maybe I can, Joe, if it's okay, I just want to ask you, in your personal life, a mom of 3 kids, a business, well, at that time it was a new business, but maybe if we take it to today, and we just saw you on camera, so, our audience will not see you at this moment, but they will certainly be able to go and look you up. And you're an amazing, magnificent, beautiful young woman.
Oh, thank you.
Honored to
I'm not that young.
You look young.
I'm older than I look.
Yeah, you look very young. You look amazing. I love the surrounding that you were in. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about joy. So let's have a little girl talk here.
Okay? Let's do it. Talk.
Okay, what are the things that you really enjoy doing that keep you joyful being a beautiful woman in the business world?
Wow, that's a really good question. I've been having a lot of discussions in the business world with our clients and with my colleagues and with my husband, a lot about things like masculine and feminine and where our power comes from, right? And being part of a couple in business. If I can take a step back for a minute, yes. I find that we really have to seek joy. It has to be something that's created deliberately because Andy and I work very well together. We began our relationship working together before we ever dated. So we've got that history together. And yet here we are, two people running a fast growing business. Sometimes it feels like a rocket ship and I'm a dog with my head sticking out the side, my cheeks are flapping. And so there's that I'm so excited, I'm so scared feeling that you get to navigate with your partner, right? And figure out how to make money with it, how to feed your family. And then, put children to bed when you're very tired together and working together all day. And then there's the relationship piece. So to take it back to joy, I think so much of it has to do with recognizing when you are getting the little flags and the little signs that you are too far off balance.
Right. And
I'm going to say something that might be controversial, and that is that I don't believe in balance. I don't know.
Yay! I'm so glad to hear you say that.
It's going to go over with your audience.
No, I'm totally with you on that one.
I do believe in balance, but I don't believe in the status that we attribute to balance. Like we're striving so hard for balance, but I truly believe that when you're trying to move into momentum, when you're trying to swing for the seats, right? Necessarily by definition, you do have to swing out of balance. Mm-hmm. And so when you're doing that, just understanding I can sustain this for a little while as the airplane is lifting, right? As that rocket ship is taking off. But I need to keep in mind who might be being left behind by this, right? Who is standing by and watching and waiting for me to come back to balance. So long story short, RaRa,
Yes.
when I notice that I'm swinging too far off balance, that's when it's time for self-care. And the things that bring me joy are also the things that contribute to self-care. So I try to be, my best feminine self, and then I will take it to the gym and I will kickbox until that bag is swinging. I'm a martial artist, so I love to fight. I love I love kickboxing. I love cycling. I love to get my sweat on. So I'm at the gym probably 5 days a week. And when I wasn't, I was really feeling the stress of my business. Before I got back into really taking care of myself, I was not joyful. I was stressed. I was tired. I was scared. And the more I focused on my self-care and getting active and feeling really good about myself, the better focus and joy and energy I've been able to bring back to my business. So it's definitely brought me back.
Nice. And sorry, go ahead, Kathryn.
I'm curious. So when do you like to go to the gym and beat up the
When do I go? It depends on available classes. I do really well in group classes. I find that if I just go to the workout floor, I tend to give up sooner. So I was doing a class 3 mornings a week, which was very early, and I'm not a morning person. I'm a Leo. I like to stretch and yawn and stay in bed for an extra hour. But I was getting up and being at the gym regularly, 6 a.m. a few days a week for probably 5-6 months. And I've just stopped doing that. But now I fit it in when I can bring my kids as well. We happen to go to a gym that is a very family-friendly gym, and they'll actually exercise our kids while we exercise, which I love.
Yes.
So it feels like a win-win. I bring them. They are having fun, tumbling and playing soccer and doing the things in the kids section. And then I'm finding my bliss, right? So I'm cycling in a class that's got disco dance lights, or I'm jumping and kicking and yelling and ki-eyeing and having a great time. And then we come back together, everyone's well exercised, and we come back home, and I feel like I'm able to face the day so much better.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I interrupted you, Dr. Energy.
That's quite all right. It was a very good question with a great answer. And there was a couple of things that I picked up on in a couple of your answers, Mia. And one of the things was what you said about balance. I so agree. It's a dynamic process. It's not a static thing where things just stay the same place. We're constantly moving from one end of the teeter-totter to the other, the seesaw to the other. And it's a matter of finding how we can best do that dance. So I love what you said about that. Yeah. And then the other thing that I really liked, nowhere in your answer about starting a business, did you even really talk about you briefly mentioned, you have to make some money, but it was all about how you made the architecture of the business based on what gave you joy, what made you happy, what gifts you had to share with the world. And I would just like to hear a little bit more about that.
Sure. More about the gifts that we have to share?
The gifts, and then how planning your business right from the start to have those things inherent as part of the business, how that helped you grow the business. Gosh,
well, it's been a double-edged sword, I do have to say, because we planned our business based on these skills, but it took a while for us to really understand the best way to monetize. Right. So a lot of people start by planning the monetization of your business, which I think is a very smart way to do it. And with us, we really took what can I give? What can I contribute? What can I do really well first? And then we actually figured out a very smart way to leverage and monetize it later. But it did mean that it was a bit of white knuckling.
Yeah, right? For sure.
Completely honest. It was, let's hold on and see how this thing grows. It also means that our business grew exponentially before we monetized it consistently.
Right.
And so on the one hand, I found it very emotionally fulfilling, very mentally fulfilling, very spiritually fulfilling. And then, holy crap, are we going to be able to pay the mortgage? There was this kind of dichotomy going on. But because we were so strong on building our skills and our happiness into that side of the business, I feel like when we figured out how to really make money with it, it felt like the money we were earning came from a place of integrity.
Yes.
As well, right? It was a slower build, but a very consistent build. And it felt like at no point in my process am I having to manipulate? Am I having to persuade? Am I having to sell out?
Right.
Because I'm speaking my truth.
Right.
And, combined with some really smart business coaching on how to leverage our business model, I think that overall it has just given us, it's given us a foundation.
Right.
I think that so many of us, I'll borrow a quote from my coach. She said, so many of us build our business because we have a gift, right? We'd be stuck in a cubicle otherwise. So we have some kind of gift to give the world. We have some kind of talent or we're mission driven, we have a passion. And often the rest of our business is built on toothpicks and Band-Aids. Right? We're just like, I'm not a marketer. I'm not a salesperson. There's all these other things you have to fill in.
Right.
So what we did was we got the people who know that side of business to help us fill in the gaps. Instead of beating ourselves up, I can be in my unique brilliance. I can be the visionary. I can do the stuff I love. And I can delegate out the stuff I'm not so good at instead of just sitting here beating myself up. Once I figured that out, then maybe I'm not good at bookkeeping, but that's someone else's gift and they're thrilled to bookkeep for me. But if I can delegate out that way, we just grow and grow. And I've been really happy to partner with people and their gifts.
It's that the old 80-20 rule, right? Focus on the 20% that brings you the 80% of your income, and the rest
Always. And they call that the Pareto principle. And we actually use that as a filter for a lot of our business decisions.
Right.
So it's often looking at the 80-20 of a task.
Yes.
Right. So what's the 20% of this task that's going to get me 80% of the return? And start there.
Exactly.
Really leaving perfectionism behind and understanding the power of that top 20%. What is the 20% that will get me the 80% return in my business, in individual tasks, in networking connections, even, right?
Yep.
And this all revolves. This all revolves around making joy even that much more enjoyable, because you have a solution with a winning formula. So let me ask you a question, Mia, about family and children, because you have you have it all, right? You have family, you have business, you have 3 beautiful children. And I'm sure, like you said, there are days you get up early and you don't want to, and yet you do, and you find ways to put it all together. But I'm sure and I'm sure you do. And the people that listen to us, or some of our listeners, will be family members, and they have children, and they might be looking for a tip or a strategy. And I'm going to ask you, how do you give, spread, attract, implement joy in your life with your children?
Goodness. There's so many ways, but I'm going to pick just one strategy that we've been using a lot to bring more joy into parenting, and it's music. We're using music in every way possible, because I've spoken to many people in our network who are business owners and parents, and we all agree that there are days when we will sell them to the highest bidder. And there are days, and just being honest here, there's days when it just feels like more trouble than it's worth. But you know what? There's so much joy when you're in gratitude with being able to be there for pickups, be there for drop-offs, be there for skinned knees, and not have to ship them off somewhere because I'm stuck commuting or in a cubicle. So right there, I think that our baseline of joy is higher because we're not, because we put our family first. Yeah. But with our kids particularly, we've been using music a lot instead of yelling, for example. So let me tell you.
Just turn the music up?
Well, I'll give you some ideas. One is that our oldest son is on the autism spectrum. And one of the things that is very difficult for him, as with a lot of children, but it is very, very hard for him to sit and focus on desk work. He's not really built for it. He's so gifted in so many ways, and sitting there filling out a sheet of paper is not
one of them.
That's not motivating, and it brings him down. Like you can watch him just slipping down the emotional ladder. Like he starts at frustration, and then he's slipping down into impatience, and the next thing you're seeing a little rage coming out. And so, like, and then he reaches like powerlessness. Like, I can't do this. And what we've started doing with him is just bringing music in and saying, okay, first of all, what's the music that gets him going? And secondly, let's put this music on and turn it into a game. And now I'll put on a song and we're going to race the song. So I will put on some music and he's got 5 minutes. We know the track is 5 minutes and 5 seconds. And by the time this track is done, you're going to get as many of those questions done as you can. And you're going to beat this music artist. And that for him, he loves, right? He loves it. Just instantly focus. He'll go and he'll do it.
Nice. The
same thing with our littlest. Our youngest is she's a dynamo. She is like a pure ingot of energy in a 4-year-old. And she's the size of a 2-year-old. So she's like this radiant beam of joy, but you can't contain her. It's like trying to order the sun to go get dressed, right? You can't do it. she's busy leaping around. But music will focus her, right? And I'll say, okay, we're putting on our getting ready music. We have to be ready by the time this music is done. And she'll do it joyfully, like laughing, smiling, getting dressed, and she snaps to attention very quickly. So we'll use music to set the mood for bedtime. We use music when we need to turn off screens without a fight. We'll switch on the music. We'll use music to get ready in the mornings. We all sing and play instruments as well, so that's helpful. But it's just the listening to music has brought joy back into parenting for us, and that right now is probably my top strategy for taking things that were stressful and making them lighter and just making them more fun.
That's
awesome.
A
great strategy, Mia. Thank you so much. That I'm certain will be a wonderful tip for our listeners to try to implement. And trying it means they won't do it, so they'll actually do it. and then thinking about celebrating. So I believe that you do this in your life. So maybe you can give us another strategy or give us an example. How do you celebrate? And then Dr. Joe, I'm going to ask you a question as well.
Okay.
So Mia, how do you celebrate joy? What does that look like for you, Mia Torr, when you're celebrating joy?
When I celebrate joy, gosh, that's a really good question. It's something I haven't done enough. I think that a lot of us, I talked about this with a number of entrepreneurs actually about a month ago. We talked about how often we skip the celebrations, right? Just how often we get something done and maybe we pat ourselves on the back, but we skip the celebration. And on a very small level, a tiny thing that I do, it's so small, but it's so fun. I have a gong downstairs and we call it the gong of achievement. So if you book a new client, you get to ring the gong, right? Nice. If the kids finish their plate of dinner, they ring the gong. So the gong is just, hey, I did it. I completed it, right? But something that I've always struggled with, always in school as a kid, I always struggled with the last 10% of a task. I can get anything to 80%. I can push to like maybe 90%, and then I go, I'm done. I don't need that. I don't need to finish it. I've done enough. I've done the learning. There's something in that last 10% where my energy drops. Yeah. I do, and I've started to use the gong as a way to celebrate. Oh, look at that! Oh, I love it. It's perfect. Fantastic. Mine goes more like bong. But I use that to celebrate when I ship. I've shipped an article, or I've finished a piece of content, or I completed the webinar, or we opened a new city or new networking group. I hit that gong, and it's just an acknowledgement, right?
That's great. That's great.
Awesome.
I didn't want to interrupt you when you were speaking, and I was going to say, Mia, and then I thought, okay, I have this here. That was exactly amazing how you said that word, and this is our audible for tonight. So
there you go.
It's in such alignment. That's amazing. That's a lot of fun. Dr. Energy, let me ask you a question about joy. How do you celebrate joy in your life?
So Mia said you said something interesting there about how we tend to skip celebrations. And there was a time when I was part of a coaching group, and one of the things that we did was something called power blocks. So you'd have scheduled blocks throughout your day where you do just that activity, scheduled activity for a set period of time, whether it was 5 minutes or 20 minutes. And then you celebrated at the end of that time when the timer went off. And so I found that as I celebrated more, and I have like a power, like Tony Robbins has his power move that he starts the day with, I have a sort of a similar celebratory power move where I punch my fists and
I like
that. And yeah, absolutely. Because I'm a very physical person as well. So, and it just anchors it for me. And then it sets up this brain cascade where my brain wants more of it. Because, hey, that felt amazing to celebrate.
Yep.
Let's go get something else done. Because like you, 80%, no problem. Get it to push it to 90%. And then it's like, meh, lose interest a little bit.
Yep.
And so when I know that celebration is coming at the end, it keeps me going to the end to get it across the finish line. So
that's awesome.
That's how I celebrate.
Yeah. I want to add one more thing for the people who know me. I am known for something unusual, and that is that I love boots. People who know me or have networked with me, everywhere I go, they're like, you have the craziest, coolest boots all the time. And maybe people think I have more pairs of boots than I actually do. The boots that I choose are always unusual is not the quite the right word, but they're
eye-catching.
Yeah, they're always very charismatic. You know, they've got their own personalities. And those boots are always the result of me reaching some goal, some quarterly goal, some income goal, some client goal. Something that I have done for myself is always rewarded. Once or twice a year, I get myself a fierce new pair of boots. And when I get them, I am on top of the world. People see me, and they somehow contribute to my posture, my power, how I show up. It's just my thing. I think we all have our own signature pieces or retail therapy or whatever. Right. But for me, the boots are my little gift to myself. And those are always a great celebration.
Sweet. I'll have to show you my collection of superhero belt buckles one of these days.
Superhero boots can meet the superhero belt buckles.
There you go. So that's a great thing about, celebrating and rewarding yourself. So I'd like to, since we both answered the question, I'd like to hear RaRa's answer about how she celebrates joy as well.
Thank you. I am very physical as well. But because it's a podcast that people will be listening to, I'll have to modify my answer a little bit. Boom, boom. So I celebrate joy every day. This can go either way. I'll let you figure it out. I love to celebrate using my entire body. I like to go to my yoga studio. See, you thought I was going to say something. And I like to go into a Pilates, a yoga, a yin, a stretch and surrender class. And as you know, I'm a big follow-through person, so to speak. So I'm on 47 straight days at the moment of yoga, Pilates, and yin.
Fantastic.
Nice.
And this is not the first time, right? We know this, that I've done this before. So for me, celebrating joy is something I must do every day. Similar to my gratitude moments, similar to my meditation moments. So it needs to actually show up in my schedule. So I don't wake up and say, well, let me see how it's going to go today. I wake up and I know when I'm going to celebrate joy, because it takes about an hour and 45 minutes, sometimes 2 hours to do that. And in order to celebrate joy for 2 hours, I need to be organized to do that. And I'm very joyful about that, because I know that in my schedule, I book my meetings for my studio, my sessions, a month in advance. So they're in my schedule. They go into my calendar, and every day I know what time of day I'm going to do that. And this is extremely joyful, because I cannot move away from those appointments. If I have to step out of that moment of my organized schedule, that would not make me joyful. So for me, it's that I have this in my day-to-day life. It's pretty much a luxury, I would say. Although I'm militant about it, it's a luxury that I can take this time every single day. And I figure it's like the person who's saving money and stops going to, like, I don't want to say Starbucks, but, someone who says, I'm going to save money and I'm going to stop doing this and I'm going to put this money. Well, I decided not to waste time throughout the day and to put the time into my practice, which gives me joy. So it's like a jar that we're throwing, $10 bills in, and every 10 minutes of time that I think I would be wasting, I just put it all together. And this is great because this physical outlet, like you said, Mia, and Dr. Energy, I know how physical you are. This truly means something, to walk into a hot room, to a hot yoga room, and come out of that room just like red and hot and sweaty. It feels amazing. So I want to thank you for asking me that question, because I absolutely look forward to it. I would like to, may I ask a question? I'd like to ask us all a closing question, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Okay, great. So I know when we're speaking, we're listening to each other and we're not really listening to what we're saying ourselves. But I'd like to go, I'm listening to you. I'm thinking, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so interested in that. But in BU podcast, we have what's called our BU final moment. And this is our BU final moment. I'd like to talk about that as our takeaway. So Mia, can you share with us, and then Dr. Energy, and
Sure.
then I'll go after you. What is your BU final moment, your takeaway from today's podcast?
Oh my goodness. I loved to hear that although the ways that we each find joy, cultivate joy, and celebrate joy are different, they resonate with me. I felt more joyful just hearing the ways that you celebrate, and they inspired me to do more of it, to recognize it. I was surprised. I never really thought of the way we built our business as actually creating joy. I had just thought, what are the things I love to do? But that's really the source of joy in my business. So I was really, really happy that you gave me pause to reflect on that in my own life. And I honor both of you for showing up and, sharing with me about the ways that you express joy physically, the way that you work your bodies into it, because it's not just emotional, it's physical as well. Everything is tied together. And I think that's what I've got from today. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Final moment. So Dr. Energy, you working your body into joy. That's an opening statement. Can you elaborate on that?
Again, this is not 50 Shades of Grey, as we've said before.
So I think that brings joy to people too.
Some people, yes.
Some
definitely.
people, yes.
So just the big takeaway for me, again, like Mia said, is that we all, although we celebrate and cultivate joy differently, the fact that we do it is the important thing. And the physical thing is definitely a big part of it. In fact, for me, I spent the better part of 5.5, almost 6 hours at the spa the other day, a few days ago. And I really found that I enjoy saunas and that kind of heat rather than being in the hot tubs and the pools and all that kind of stuff. I like being in the hot saunas and then go roll in the snow or cold water and then go back in the sauna. So to take the time for the self to celebrate. I'd had several big things going on recently and took the time to celebrate it. And that was just a really, really fun way to spend the day, and just in some quiet time and celebrating everything that I had accomplished recently. So.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Rolling
in the snow, huh?
Yeah.
I'll wrap it up and circle back, and I'll give you my final moments before we but before we will close our joyful show. My takeaway from today, there were many things, but I'd like to focus on the music with children, Mia.
Yes.
My takeaway for today is I could hear the music, I could feel the music, and I could almost imagine the smiles on your children's faces when they do have to come off their screen time, but music is playing. So it really resonates with me. And I have a story that I'd like to get into with that, but I'll save that for another time, for another show. I would like to say that moment really truly hit a note for me, or touched my heart. I want to thank you for that. And I know our audience will absolutely love to hear all of our takeaways, and to hear, and I'll listen to our show again, and to hear all the wonderful things that you are doing, that you have done. And I love that you like to go out there and do some kickboxing. That's I used to own a gym, so this is amazing for me. Yeah, I'd love to do some kickboxing with you. So,
anytime we can spar.
Thank you.
I'm staying out of that one. I'm not getting in the middle of that.
Mia, let's book it. All right. And thank you so much, Mia Torr, for this evening, for this afternoon, for this morning, whenever anyone is listening to this show, whenever our audience is listening to the show. This was amazing. It was fun. It was joyful. And I'm really looking forward to getting into the gym and sweating with you.
Me too. Me too.
Thank you, Dr. Energy.
Thank you both. It was a wonderful, wonderful episode, and I can't wait to re-listen to this one again.
Thank you both. It was just a joy and a delight to be with both of you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you for joining us. Sharing is caring. Tell your friends about conversations worth having on BU Network. We really appreciate your reviews, and you can do that on Apple Podcast. Thank you.
For show notes and links, go to www.b-u.network/podcasts. Connect with us via our website, www.b-u.network, and build a relationship with us. Sign up to receive information, updates, and your free video training at www.b-u.network/pro.
We're looking forward to hearing from you, and thank you for being with us. Ciao.
Ciao, babies.